Let's jump right into today's explainer, where we're unpacking a seriously chilling mystery called The Haunting of Varsha. Picture this: a deep, dark night, a violent thunderstorm, and a desperate escape that ends in absolute tragedy. A young woman named Varsha is terrified. She's fleeing from unseen attackers and suffers a catastrophic fall on a cold stone staircase. Just blood pooling on the cold floor. It's a brutal scene.
But, as you might guess, her story doesn't end on those stairs. We fast forward to the sterile quiet of a hospital room. Varsha is drawing her final, agonizing breaths. A doctor leans in close. You'd think she'd ask for help, right? Or maybe name her attackers? Actually, no. With her fading strength, she just utters this chilling final vow. I will come back. It's this deeply unsettling promise that completely sets the stage for the nightmare that follows.
Okay, so exactly 1 month after Varsha's death, things start getting weird. The clock strikes 12:30 a.m., and one of her friends, Rajat, is jolted awake by his doorbell ringing. He stumbles to the front door, opens it to the pitch-black night, and nothing. Nobody is there. But looking down on the porch, he spots a mysterious box, and it has his exact name on it. He brings this weird delivery inside, opens it up, and finds a letter. But guys, this is no ordinary letter. Written in fresh blood are 3 inescapable words: I will come back. Trembling in shock, Rajat tries to rationalize it. I mean, we all would, right? He throws the box away, telling himself it's just a cruel, sick prank. But as he lays back down in the dark to try and sleep, a familiar, ghostly voice echoes directly inside his room. It asks him why he doesn't want her to return.
What happens next completely defies all logic. Rajat hears heavy footsteps echoing closer and closer in the room. He opens his eyes in a cold sweat, and there is a dark shadow perched right on top of his wardrobe, just relentlessly banging its feet. It's Varsha's spirit. She lunges. The very next day, Rajat is found dead. And here's the craziest part. The autopsy reports death by suffocation, but there are absolutely zero signs of a physical struggle. I mean, how do you fight something that isn't physically there? This impossible medical report understandably leaves his remaining friends completely terrified.
The tension just skyrockets from here. The surviving friends huddle together at their college hostel, absolutely terrified. They're mourning Rajat, but they're also realizing that they might be next. This claustrophobic panic prompts one of them, Anuj, to try and get a moment of peace. He grabs his phone to play a game and wanders up to the isolated hostel roof just to clear his head. But he's walking right into a carefully orchestrated trap.
As Anuj is pacing the roof, his eyes lock onto this familiar, terrifying motif smeared across the concrete wall in blood. I will come back. The exact second he registers what he's looking at, a violent gust of wind howls across the roof and just slams the heavy door shut. He grabs the handle, pulling desperately, but it's jammed tight. He is completely trapped up there with whatever wrote that bloody message.
Anuj is frozen. He is literally too scared to even turn around. Then, suddenly, he feels something wet and heavy on his shoulder. It's a blood-soaked hand. Unseen, vicious claws brutally tear deep into his flesh, and in one swift, violent motion, the spirit snaps his neck backward. When his friends finally discover the horrifying scene, the police are left completely baffled. That's a second impossible death in just 2 days.
But here is the terrifying reality of this situation. You cannot run from this kind of curse. The next morning, the surviving friends regroup at the college canteen. They are deeply shaken. Now, it's broad daylight, which is traditionally a safe space in these kinds of narratives, right? Well, wrong. A college peon walks right up to their table and hands Ravi a highly impossible parcel.
This is the exact moment reality itself just begins to break down. The parcel was allegedly dropped off by an unknown girl, but when Ravi frantically goes to check the campus CCTV footage, there is nothing. No delivery is recorded at all. Even worse, the campus administration confirms that the specific peon who handed it to him was entirely absent from work that day. Inside this phantom parcel is a photograph of Ravi with a massive red cross painted over his face, along with a pristine white handkerchief.
And wrapped inside that handkerchief, written once again in blood, is that relentless promise: I will come back. Ravi is thrown into an absolute panic. He burns the terrifying parcel right on the spot and flees the college, desperately seeking the perceived safety of his own home. But as we're about to see, physical walls mean absolutely nothing to this entity.
So Ravi locks himself in his house. He's trying to drown out his racing thoughts by just watching television, trying to feel normal. Suddenly, the TV severely malfunctions. Deafening, ear-piercing static just fills the room. He furiously clicks the remote, but nothing happens. He yanks the main power switch from the wall, but the TV stays on. He is locked in a room that is completely turned against him.
Then, the chaotic static clears up, and cutting through the noise, Varsha's face suddenly dominates the screen. She speaks directly to him, and her voice is just so slow and menacing. She says, "I came back to take you with me, just like I promised." She casually and terrifyingly mentions that his friends, Anuj and Rajat, are already waiting for him on the other side.
The television instantly goes pitch black. Robbie feels this terrible, heavy presence behind him. He turns around, and the spirit has fully materialized right there in his living room. In a moment of visceral, inescapable horror, she uses her bloody nails to literally tear into his face. His screams echo through the empty house, officially closing the chapter on the third victim of this relentless haunt. But hold on, we have to stop and ask the big question. Why? Why on earth is Varsha systematically hunting down her own friends in such incredibly brutal ways? Up until this point in our explainer, this plays out like a standard vengeful ghost story. But the sheer precision of it, the psychological taunting, and the immense rage, it all points to a much darker underlying mystery. What could possibly warrant this level of absolute retribution?
The answer to all of that lies with Priya. Deep in the night, she's trembling in her room, fully aware that her entire circle of friends is collapsing around her. Suddenly, her phone pings with a notification. It's a message sent directly from Ravi's number. She opens it, only to find a video showing the exact, horrifying moment of Ravi's death. It's a terrifying digital signal that her turn is finally here.
She drops her phone in absolute terror and slowly looks up. Smeared across her bedroom mirror in thick, dripping blood is that phrase we've really come to dread, "I will come back." And reflected right beside her in the glass, it's the bleeding, battered spirit of Varsha herself demanding answers from the girl who claimed to be her closest friend.
As the spirit confronts Priya, the horrific secrets are finally laid bare for us. You see, these victims weren't innocent friends at all. The boys had secretly installed a hidden camera in Varsha's bathroom. They aggressively blackmailed her, just draining her of all her money. And when she had nothing left to give them, they actually orchestrated a group trip to an isolated resort to carry out a horrific assault. So that rainy night at the very beginning of our story, Varsha wasn't just running from some random danger. She was fleeing for her life from these absolute monsters when she suffered that fatal fall.
And Priya? She was far from an innocent bystander. She knew absolutely everything. She was fully aware of the hidden camera and the ruthless extortion. In fact, she greedily took a cut of the blackmail money for herself. She acted as a fake confidant just to keep Varsha's defenses down. But the ultimate betrayal? As Varsha lay bleeding to death on those cold stairs, Priya stood with the boys, and she laughed. She fed off her friend's misery and literally mocked her dying moments.
Finally confronted with her crimes, Priya falls to her knees. She's begging for forgiveness, admitting she was just blinded by greed. But it is way too late. The final, violent reckoning has arrived. With explosive force, the haunted mirror shatters, driving razor-sharp shards of glass directly into Priya's body. Her fake pleas for mercy are silenced instantly, fulfilling the spirit's final act of revenge against her tormentors.
Now, to truly understand the mechanics of this haunting, we have to look at the one friend who actually survived the whole ordeal. Because, why did he live? Simple. Because he was completely innocent. He was entirely unaware of the hidden cameras, the blackmail, and the horrific assault plot. Varsha's spirit bypassed him completely. This really highlights that this was never just mindless violence. It was highly targeted karmic justice.
So, in a story completely drenched in betrayal and supernatural revenge, who were the true monsters here? Was it the ghost seeking violent justice from beyond the grave? Or was it the humans hiding incredibly dark, predatory secrets right behind the mask of friendship? It's a genuinely terrifying thought to leave you with. Sometimes the worst monsters aren't hiding under your bed. They are the friends standing right beside you. Think about that next time you look around your own circle. Thanks for joining me as we unpack this chilling narrative, and remember to always keep questioning what you see.